Good morning, all, and thank you for joining me. It's important for us to be engaged in the sector as it goes through change, and it is changing. It's no secret, Ontario needs more housing. We need it now. With the federal government's National Housing Strategy and both the province's Community Housing Renewal Strategy and Housing Supply Action Plan, it's time for us as housing providers to look at our operations and business models to see how we can best take advantage of those programs. The tools are there, and we can take them. In 2017 to 2018 alone, municipal, provincial, and federal governments spent $5 billion on housing and homelessness services. But housing providers need to look at other options besides simple financial requests to sustain our sector. Money matters, but not at the cost of inflexibility, creativity, and innovation. Our strategic partners, stakeholders, and allies have visions for the sector. It's time we own our future. Vocalize our desire to push the envelope, discover what's possible, and share our solutions. But to do that, we need to rethink how we do business as organizations and as providers. We are a resilient sector, but too often lean on language, methods, and advocacy efforts from the previous era to secure new possibilities. The more we lean on old habits, the more our future can be dictated to us by leaders and influencers outside of our sector. If we do not keep up, our future may not be of our own making. We can't afford to have the sector in someone else's hands. For example, unlike other services, community housing is in an increasingly precarious position compared to predominantly public property. There is a real drive to privatize and commercialize a commodity everyone should have access to, a home. Real estate investment trusts, private equity, even Airbnb have begun to commoditize housing. Why is this happening in housing and not other government-run programs like healthcare or education? With, for now, limited supply, a greater concentration of wealthy individuals and corporations are hoarding properties at the expense of young people, families, and our tenants. Why are we so hesitant to ensure housing is dedicated for public use rather than private rights? Affordable housing was a major issue in many of the urban centers across the country in the most recent federal election. And why is that? We see the effects of leaning more towards private rights through various investment vehicles. Profit extraction focused on the bottom line hurts those we in the community housing sector care most about. There's an increasing disparity in economic and social classes in our society that are affecting our lives more than ever. ONPHA is no longer complacent. The sector shouldn't be either. We should begin by asking ourselves some hard questions. We need to be honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses. Are our organizations truly sustainable? If they are, we should share our stories with each other. If they aren't sustainable, why not? What can we do to ensure they are? Our sector cannot be left behind. We are too critical to sectors beyond our own: health, social services, education, Indigenous services, and economic development. We touch it all. Many people in our sector have started to talk about consolidation and the future of smaller housing providers. While that isn't a comfortable conversation to have, and most of ONPHA's members are smaller providers, can we really pass up the opportunity to create a more unified voice and a stronger sector through consolidation? We may need to think critically about what's possible, and we do have significant challenges ahead of us. End of operating agreements, end of mortgages, smaller budgets, weaker funding, and many of us not being able to attract the talent we need to carry forward our community-based mission. But these also present opportunities for us to seriously discuss what's next for community housing. Be assured, ONPHA is positioning itself as your sector association to help you navigate these challenges and broker relationships between providers all over the province. We're being proactive to encourage positive changes, both internal and external, to the sector. Since January 2018, ONPHA has hired over half a dozen experienced staff with new perspectives and voices. We've created the foundation for a Center of Housing Excellence, a new think tank to bring together stakeholders from around the social services sector to create solutions for housing in tandem. We've revamped our membership fee structure, created a new purchasing program called ONPHA Select, and shown leadership on the end of mortgage issue. We're also developing a suite of enterprise services to ensure providers can quickly access a menu of trusted professionals to help them with anything from HR, legal, RFP, grant writing, and consulting. With a complete advocacy team in place, we're creating stronger relationships with our provincial, municipal, and federal partners so we can ensure housing stays at the forefront of the political conversation in Ontario. Our investment and work with BC Nonprofit Housing Association on the Canadian Rental Housing Index got us noticed by government officials, political candidates, and news media. Since the launch of the index in September, we've earned over 70 million media impressions, over 120 million social media impressions, 7 interview requests for our CEO Marlene, with more coming every week, and over 20 news stories in publications around the country. Critical stakeholders are beginning to take notice. ONPHA's brand, its team, and its board are ready to take the next step to really own our future and grow as an organization. None of this would have been possible without the board, and I want to thank them for the leadership they've exhibited over the past few years, especially those board members who led the organization through the leadership transition. There are some big challenges ahead for us. We have to confront them head on together. ONPHA is working hard to ensure it acts on member voices. We appreciate all the feedback you've given us so far to ensure that we're always growing. The sector is an exciting place, and we hope you continue on this journey with us. Thank you.